Welcome, viewers, to another episode of My Day, My Story at the Lesan Legacy Studio. I welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to this wonderful episode that we're going to be talking about something that you will consider human interest. And how does this become a human interest topic? I'll tell you. It has to do with an inanimate object. An inanimate object, bridges. And how is this an important topic for My Day, My Story, MDMS to explore? I'll give you a background story of why bridges just started trending in my thoughts. In the past couple of weeks, it just happens that I live in the state of Maryland, and in the morning of one of the weeks gone by, the Key Bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, just collapsed. This is not an event that happens every day because you don't think about crossing a bridge. Your experience will be that, you just get your key, you get in your car, and you drive over a bridge. But on that fateful day, this bridge that connects Baltimore County to Anne Arundel County, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, collapsed. How did it happen? It happened that a cargo ship, fully loaded with containers, was making its journey to one of the Asian countries. And this ship that has had many voyages in the past happened to run into one of the beams that held the bridge in place. Wow, that was a disaster, one that is unexpected. And it just happens then that, thank God, it did not happen when traffic was heavy. The fatalities and the loss of life could have been so much, it would have been so dangerous. But anyway, 6 lives were lost because the workers who were patching potholes on that bridge, 6 of them were lost. And My Day, My Story commiserates with the families of those who were impacted in that fatal collapse of the bridge. So some background information about the relationship between humans and bridges. This bridge that was built way back in 1977 collapsed in the year 2024. Some background information about this collapsed bridge is that it handles 31,000 vehicles daily. The impact of 31,000 vehicles crossing that bridge from one end to another is that commerce is impacted, employment is lost, and lives are so affected. Because the Port of Baltimore is a major domestic and international shipping hub that is vital to the shipping network along the east coast of the U.S. And how will it affect every family, I can say? Because a lot of commercial activities that this bridge handles goes through Key Bridge. There is the Port of Baltimore on one side of the bridge. There is Amazon, an Amazon hub. And you know what Amazon means to American commercial life? That is the lifeline of a lot of households. Then there is the transatlantic trade hub on one side. But beyond that, there are many thousands of lives affected, the people who live on the other side of the bridge. So a lot of people were affected. The Port of Baltimore is one of the largest ports and a leading export point for the automotive industry. When the Governor Westmore, came and talked about the impact of this bridge collapse, he said that a lot of families are affected. 15,000 people work at the Port of Baltimore. 8,000 of them lost their livelihood because the bridge has to be cleared up. The debris caused by a ship, a cargo ship, collapsing or colliding into the beam of this bridge is just it's very heartbreaking. And now we are going to talk about the progress that is being made so far concerning what the bridge, what the repair is going to take. The repair is going to cost close to $400 million to complete. And lately, the progress made by both the federal, state, and county governments to repair this bridge is going to, has started already. The body of another construction worker was pulled from that bridge. Remember, I said that there were 6 lives, unfortunately, that were lost during the collapse of this bridge. Salvage crews have started removing containers from the deck of the Baltimore of the ship that collapsed. And a lot of commercial entities, the Baltimore Orioles, one of the most popular baseball clubs in the U.S., because they are affected and they want to support their community, have donated $10 million to the Community Foundation's Key Bridge Emergency Fund. President Joe Biden has come over to show support to the people who have been impacted. And now engineers have started restoring the navigation in and out of the port. And that's going to allow a lot of ships to start removing the debris by the end of April. A temporary channel has been opened for vessels involved in clearing debris from the bridge. Small business loans, and these are the latest news concerning the collapse of the Key Bridge. Small business loans have been made available through the Small Business Administration for businesses. And now, when we're talking about bridges, these are things that, these are places that we take for granted. When was the last time you ever thought about crossing any bridge? Because this is part of the infrastructure that take us from point A to point B. I can't imagine that there is any city, suburban, that doesn't have a bridge. So you don't think about it, but this is something that tickles one's that tickles one's fancy. So for the Key Bridge, it is something that has affected a lot of lives. And My Day, My Story podcast uh, prays that the families impacted by the collapse of this bridge will be comforted. And so, as a fan of My Day, My Story, do you have any bridge story to tell? In your comments, right? You're going to like, share, comment, and let us know what you think about bridges. I'll tell you a personal story about bridges. When I was growing up, going through my dad's, going from the city to my dad's cocoa, coffee, and food crop plantations, there was this local bridge that the trucks go over. Isn't it interesting that the bridges were so rickety back then that before these vehicles go over the bridges, all the passengers have to be discharged from one point before the trucks cross over to the other side. And that was just to lighten up the load, the payload of the truck. But here's what's so interesting. Those bridges were built by local engineers, but there had never been any fatality. Isn't it wonderful? And for this key bridge, the topic of discussion has always been how good the Lord has been to people who cross this bridge. Can you imagine? 6 lives were lost, right? That's 6 too many lives. And like I said, My Day, My Story commiserates with the families impacted by the fatalities. But can you imagine if this had happened during the heavy traffic hours, during the workers going back home, like around 3:30 to 6 o'clock time frame? It would have been such a huge disaster. And so we just want to say that God knows how to plan our days. Those workers who were lost in this tragedy never thought about it. So your day, your story will include one that says, I never know how my day is going to go, but I leave it in the hands of God. And so, as we move on, I would like you to share this story about the collapse of Key Bridge because it affects a lot of lives. And personally, my personal experience with Key Bridge is that for the past maybe 14 to 15 years, I have shipped a lot of vehicles through the Port of Baltimore, which, as I said earlier, is one of the main ports that ships vehicles overseas to Africa and beyond. And so it has an effect. It has affected a lot of people. So as I complete this, oh no, before I complete this episode of My Day, My Story podcast, I ran into an article concerning Third Mainland Bridge. And that's one that you can relate to. If you have ever lived in Nigeria and you travel over Third Mainland Bridge, the latest news is that one of the sides of Third Mainland Bridge has been repaired because it has been in such a state of disrepair for quite some time. This is the bridge that connects the mainland to the island. And so I just happened to run into a story today that says, what a society we live in. That thieves of, the materials that this bridge was built with have been cutting into the materials used in building the bridge. Isn't that sad? That's one sad story concerning what the society has become. Now, a bridge that has not been compromised is falling, let alone one that the structure is being tampered with. And so that tells you that's another story concerning how our society has been. Anyway, so as I bring this episode of My Day, My Story to a conclusion, I will say like, share, comment, and subscribe to My Day, My Story. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you again next week in the next episode. It might be in a number of days. Until then, ciao.